So EA has dropped the most in-demand POTM they've released since POTM Touran. On top of that, we're going to be talking about everything that has occurred in the last 24 hours, including investments and what we're expecting to come up with the market. But before we do go and start today's video, if you guys are interested, I do offer a daily subscriber trading guide over on Twitch, which you can get for free with Amazon Prime. All you need to do is click on the top link in the description and subscribe over on Twitch. It is free of Amazon Prime, if not it's £5, €5 or $6. In there, you receive yourself daily updated investing guides and daily updated guides for both shadow and silver trading. An investment we had there that did very, very well recently is we recommended Guijarro on the Sunday night at 145k. Very, very easy to obtain. Well, in less than, 48 hours, he's already gone from 145 to 220k, and he's favoured to continue rising through to Wednesday. So, yeah, some really, really nice investments, so don't miss out. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the likes of Patri. On top of that, all the content that's come out in the last 24 hours, where we think the market's going to go, and all the content coming out in the next 24 hours. Now, Patri, initially, I wasn't overly convinced she'll be too well demanded. The reason for that is because their Inform card was coming in at 80k, and this card was coming in at basically about triple the price. Now, you know, it's received herself a +1 Inform, and she's received +1s and 2s. You know, depending on the stats, I guess. If we can go and look at her playstyles as well, that'd be great. Let's take off links. Regarding playstyles, she has got herself finesse shot, incisive pass, long ball pass, plus tiki-taka, first touch, flair, press proven. But I think the main thing going for Patri is she was just one of the most used centre mids at the beginning of the game. Obviously, we know the pros that love long ball. We saw pros literally yesterday using Bruno Fernandes gold card. We saw them using Savinez 86 rated card. We've seen them using, you know, all sorts of really low rated cards because they have long ball plus, because it's kind of the, as I dub it, the Hellstorm missile sort of meta, where you just ping the ball up in the air and I hope you've been able to go and breach the defence with a forced run. So yeah, she's really well demanded, despite, I guess, not, in my opinion, looking the best value for money for the Inform. But we are during Black Friday, and during Black Friday, everyone's got Fodder to burn, and up until this point, you know, the SBCs, I mean, we had Barella the other day, haven't been the most demanded. Well, we can see that she is really well demanded. First off, that she's got 3,000 upvotes compared to 200 downvotes. That is a massive indication that she's well demanded. The second indication is anything that merely links to her has done really well. We can even see that centre mids have risen nicely as a link investment. For example, before she came out yesterday, Bob Matip's card was 760, she's now up to 810. And this is a card that's actively in packs. We see Total Rush Putellas before she came out was 900k, she's now up to 1,010,000. We can see that Gold Putellas out packs before she came out was 127. She's now up to 135. We see Peanut. Again, Peanut is someone I did go and recommend on the guide for 115k on the Sunday, the same time as the Guijarro. I'll show you right here. There you go. Recommend her at 115. Actually, I think it was 112. You can see really good money. Well, even if you were to go and buy her yesterday before the SBC, she's gone from 125 to 143. Even super expensive cards like Salma have gone from, well, I mean, we can pick lows here as a 570, and she's up 70k. God Hansen out of packs, who recommended earlier in the week at 265k. Rose Pre from 283, and she's up nearly 30k. We also saw him from Rafinha, a player that I also recommended on the Sunday. I think it was at 70. Was it a 70? It would have been 75k. Well, we can see that he's gone all the way up to 88. And these cards that are in packs will continue rising till Wednesday and then go down Thursday morning with Div Rivals, in which then there'll be a great investment. And the cards that are out of packs will just continue rising through to Friday. Now, interesting enough, her requirements were an 87, an 86, an 85, 86, and 85. This was basically one. I think it was like an 85 raid squad instead of an 88 raid squad on top of the, instead of the Icon SBC. So the Icon SBC comes in about 50k more because, again, you need an 85 instead of an 88, or something along the lines of that. Well, what did it do to Fodder? Well, before she came out, Fodder, or 84s were 2.5, they're now 2.8. 85s were 5k, now they're 5.1. 86s were 6.7, they're now 6.8. And 87s were 12k, and now they're 12k. So again, not the biggest movements in the world regarding Fodder, but we've seen a little bit of movement. Fodder will continue to rise till Wednesday post 6 PM content, and then we'll go down after 6 PM with we'll go down after the initial rise for 6 PM and going down for division rivals and so on. Not only were the gold cards affected, but informs are also slowly up. We can see 86 rated informs have gone here from 12k, they're nearly up to 13. We can see discard informs went from discard and they went all the way up there to 11.5. So starting to see movement on informs, but it's in my opinion going to be a very short-lived rise on these informs because the rise maybe between today through to Wednesday, and you're not going to expect to see them explode between now through to Wednesday unless there's some repeatable SBC. Now, another interesting thing I want to check out is the most used centre mids who are 20 to 500k. And I wanted to see how they were reacted to Patri. So right now, these are the most used centre mids from 50 to 20 to 500k. I don't think it's much of a surprise. Putellas, Bonmati, Bellingham. We then move on to special cards, and we got Llorente, Loftus-Cheek and Tchouaméni. Well, let's have a look how these reacted. Bellingham went from 43 to 43, nothing crazy. Valverde initially got panic sell from 200 to 190, but back up to 200. Llorente went from 120 down to 113, but rebounded back up to 120. Loftus-Cheek didn't really move whatsoever. Tchouaméni went down 30k, but has rebounded everything since. So yeah, wasn't really much movement. I mean, we are in a rising market, so maybe if we weren't in a rising market, maybe they drop and stay down lower. But because we're in a rising market to Wednesday or Friday, like I said earlier, a lot of them have rebounded everything they drop. Interesting enough, the biggest drop was actually on the likes of Stanway. So in my opinion, the takeaway from here is these are very mainstream players that make a lot of teams. Real Madrid, you know, Spain La Liga, maybe not so much AC Milan, I'll be honest with you, but Real Madrid again. So these are very, very mainstream, very easy to fit into teams. But I think because Stanway's a little bit more awkward to fit into teams, you know, there aren't as many well-demanded Bayern Munich cards, and obviously England Bundesliga isn't exactly a combo. I think the cards that are a little bit harder to link in definitely took a bigger hit and didn't really rebound. For example, Stanway went from 48 down there to 37, and she's only rebounded to 40. And I think that's because Bonmatip isn't the hardest. Patri isn't the hardest player to get into teams. But I think because she's a little bit more awkward than maybe a Real Madrid, maybe a La Liga Spain, I think that's why we've seen the cards that are a little bit harder to link in being replaced, because it's going to be hard to go and run the likes of, not the hardest in the world, but it'll be a little bit harder to go and run the likes of Patri in your team and Stanway in your team than it will be to go and run maybe, you know, Patri in your team and maybe Valverde because of, you know, some of the overlap links. So yeah, Stanway's taking a drop, probably will rebound still through to Friday, but there's that. So that is the most demanded POTM we've had, I'd say, since Turan. Let's go and cover some of the other content we went and got. We went and got ourselves a player pick or a campaign. Was it a campaign mixed? Sorry. So it's 85 plus. I'm pretty sure this is something we've had multiple times now. Although now it is a player pick. Is it a player pick? We going to click on? Yeah, it's a player pick now. And it required an 83 and an 84 rated, but we saw a little bit of movement on the likes of 84s. Didn't really see any movement on the 85s. Let me check quickly. Did we see any movement on the 83s? Barely any movement on the 83s. Like I said earlier, it did require a team of the week, so we did see a slight bit of movement on the likes of the team of the week. Other content we would have got ourselves was Wilfried Zaha, the man who consistently is in a state of looking like he's going to cry. I wouldn't say that the picture there goes against the agenda too much. The problem with Zaha is that we had El Shawari only the other day, and if we go and compare El Shawari to Zaha, bear in mind El Shawari is 53k. Zaha's got +1 pace, +1 shooting, -4 passing, -2 dribbling, +10 physical. So I'd say they're very comparable cards. Both can play left wing and left mid, but El Shawari is, first off, 1/5 of the price, and two, El Shawari and Serie A Italy teams are way more popular than Ligue 1 teams this year. Ligue 1 teams are very, very unpopular unless maybe the player is French. So when we're throwing Ivory Coast, and don't get me wrong, Olympique Lyon's definitely got a lot of decent woman links, that he's not going to be very well demanded, especially if we literally got this card 2-3 days ago. So we haven't seen much movement. We have seen Cherky go up, but I think naturally Cherky was probably going to be rising every day anyway because, because of, he's just a well-demanded card. We've seen this card rise a lot this FIFA. Double 5-star in the cam positions, well-demanded. But yeah, other link investments, we didn't really see Diani do anything. And yeah, there aren't really that many other link investments. We didn't really see much move there, and I don't believe we would have seen many left wings drop. Now a little talk about the market. Now yesterday we did go and have the FC Pros play. If I can go and grab their cards. Yeah, we went and had the FC Pros play. If I'm not wrong, we had Palacios go and play. We had Benzema go and play. We had the likes of Xavi Simons go and play. And then I think it might have been like 1 or 2 of the plebs. Oh yeah, we had Igor playing wherever Igor is. A Ligue 2 Brazilian right back. Always a weird player, but hey. Well, how did these cards go and react? Well, even though some of these guys did go and receive upgrades, I think Nicholas got a few wins. I compared these cards to, I don't know if you guys follow the crypto, I'm not really a massive crypto person myself, but I compared these cards. These were like those cryptocurrencies that get pump and dumped. No one cares about the currency. All they care about is kind of the gamble and trying to make money. So in my opinion, no one really cares about this Palacios, and no one really cares about if I can go and grab him Benzema. I don't believe these are cards that are being used. But what I would say is these are placeholders for people being able to gamble. So basically, these cards are great. These cards are great cards to go and gamble. But eventually, what happens is, as soon as there's no demand for them, or as soon as there's not really a gamble on them, they get dumped. Because the reality is no one really wants this Palacios. He's not really that good of a card. It's just people are, buying him for something to gamble with. And what we saw yesterday, even though these guys got upgraded, Palacios went from 146 down there to 50. It's not even like his pro had that unfavourable of an outcome. We can go and see that, like I said, Benzema went from 140 and he went all the way down there to 60. That's rebounded to 70 since. And even Anders didn't even have a bad outcome, but the Xavi Simons went from 900k to 600k. Because the reality is these cards aren't as demanded as their price are. These guys aren't holding up with the metas of players of these prices. And if you guys don't know, the pros that play with these cards don't actually play until January. So you'd have to wait a whole month for these cards to get upgraded. And is he going to hold the test of time? Probably not. No, last year we actually saw the Pro Live cards after they played for the first week drop all the way until 1 week before the games. And then 1 week before the first set of games is when we saw these cards rebound. So I always recommended selling them at 3 PM. I mean, there was a slight rise, but yeah, 3 PM. I mean, here we can actually see 9 AM having a higher rise. Yeah, I mean, 9, 10 AM maybe for future weeks might be the sell on these cards, but yeah, the drop on these was just very, very ugly, and it's because these cards aren't demanded and they're just a placeholder for those that want to gamble. There's been a few leaks regarding SB or up-and-coming EVOs. The first of that is that there is an EVO that this guy can go and fit. Now, if you want to go and try and find fullbacks that maybe fit under this, maybe with no playstyle plus, you're more than welcome to do that. We've also got ourselves another EVO leaked, which apparently can fit Marmouche. So again, if you want to go and look at players that have stats below Marmouche, that could be a happy gamble for this. Again, understand not every single gamble for EVOs works. Recently, obviously, we had that Keen Capitavia. I showed you in just the other video, where all these 86 heroes were all pre-invested. We knew they fit an EVO. The EVO sucked and they went down. So do be aware, there is a bit of a risk with EVO investing, that not necessarily everything is well demanded. But what you can go and do is you can basically go over to Footbin, put 93 pace maximum, 84 shooting maximum, 88 dribbling maximum, and then look at any players that fit under that. And any players that fit under that are well demanded could be a nice investment. On top of that, Bundesliga POTM came out now. If I imagine fan vote would probably be, I think Musiala is still the golden boy of the Bundesliga, but I think Marmouche will probably end up winning it again because Marmouche is very in hype, and I believe he probably had a lot of contribution. I think we can go and find this actually on Footbin. If we go to more and we go to POTM contenders and move into the Bundesliga, Harry Kane was not on there. Wow. 5 goals, 1 assist. And they didn't put him on the voting. Okay, well, where's Marmouche? Marmouche still got himself 4 assists and 2 goals, so I'd imagine he'd favour. Did they put Schick on there? They didn't put Patrick Schick on there. What on earth is that player? Well, the more you know. Well, yeah, I'd imagine Marmouche is going to win it off the back of that. What weird voting. Maybe they don't want back-to-back Harry Kanes. But yeah, we got ourselves him who can go and fit an EVO. And then this card design got added. Now, recently there's been a few card designs that have been leaked. I think the promo after Thunderstruck is going to have heroes, icons, and base cards. But yeah, not really any context, but there is another card design leaked. That is going to go wrap it up. As I say, at the moment I am live streaming my 0 to 1 million coins in 20 hours Road to Glory. We're about halfway through the Road to Glory, so if you guys do want to go and join that, you are more than welcome to. As I say, these videos will be uploaded from the 5th to the 12th because that's when I'm away on holiday, so I'm just kind of recording a bunch of footage. So if you want to see it live, go and join now. I guess if you don't want to see it live or don't want any spoilers, well, you can go and watch the videos as of the 5th. But that is going to go and wrap that up. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.